Welcome to this little tutorial video where I want to show you how to edit the files from Scrapland. Most of the data is inside this Data.packed file archive. So if we want to modify this Data.packed, I copied it into the ScrapMod demo folder here. We need to use Game Extractor from WAV Studios. It costs $10 if you want to change files inside the archive, and with that tool we can easily look inside the archive. Modifying it isn't that easy, but I'll show you some tricks. So if you have a look inside, there are folders and files. Just to quickly show you how to extract files, we can, for example, extract this file, press this button, and here we make sure the right directory is selected. Once the correct directory is selected, we can here choose extract selected, so it gets there. And I have already extracted some WAV file and made a backup file of it and some script files. The pycompile.py will become important later. Then there I have extracted the dtritus file and its compiled version, and the vehiclesnpc.py and its compiled version, and made backup files of all. So if we start with the WAV file, this we can modify quite easily with a normal audio tool. We just need to make sure to keep, with every file, we need to make sure to keep its size as is. So if we copy this here and have a listen, this is some background noise that you can hear when being near the crazy gambler. If we make some noise, and if we now copy this here and delete the rest, this will now sound like this. So here the original is mono, so we need to drop the stereo. So now we can extract this file, save this file. Just make sure that we have a backup. Yes, we have a backup. Good. File export as WAV. Save. Override. Okay. Okay. If we have a look at file details, 84,202. The original has a size of 84,202, so this is fine. Now we have prepared the new loop crazy 2 WAV. Now if we want to change something in a script, we need the py compile. Let's see what can we change, for example, in the dtritus.py. The character max speed, let's increase that by 4. I haven't changed the size of the file, I only modified this value, but I think it should not matter if the .py changes a bit in size. So if we save this and close this again, as far as I know, the .py files get ignored. we need to generate a new .pyc file out of it. So we delete the pyc, we have still the backup, and now we need to run this script. For this I installed Python. You can go to downloads, all releases. We need for Scrapland not any Python 3 or Python 2 or not 2.0. We need Python 1.5.2. It's from April 1999. I'm not sure how safe it is to have it installed on your computer all the time. It should not be an issue, but if you don't need it, don't install it. If you only want to change WAV files or textures, which I don't know how yet, you don't need to install Python. But I have installed it. I've installed it in a different location than the standard folder, which increases security a little bit, and it isn't in the same folder as the normal Python installation. So now I change into the ScrapMod demo folder, into the scripts folder. For the scripts I made sure to have the same folder structure as it's inside the archive. I'm not sure if it's needed, just to make sure. So I call the Python I installed, Python 1.5, with the argument e interactive, and call this pycompile script. I'm inside the scripts folders. I call the Python exe interactively the pycompile file. Now I'm in Python mode with this symbol. If you have a look inside pycompile, there's a compile function which wants a file name and a timestamp value. I don't think the timestamp value is important, but we need, of course, to provide the correct file name. So we call compile. Everything needs to be in as a string, chars / dtritus.py and timestamp 0, enter. So now we have the dtritus.pyc, but we have an issue. The issue is, if we compare the file sizes, they are slightly different. The new one is slightly smaller than the old one. So in this case we are lucky, because if it would be bigger, I don't know what to do. But if it's smaller, we can easily fix that. For this I use a Hex Editor. I use HXD, freeware Hex Editor, and Disk Editor. Be careful when don't use the Disk Editor stuff, you could fuck up your system. But a normal file editor is easy to use, relatively easy to use. So we open HXD and we load the new compiled file and the backup file, and go to the end of the files for both. So here the upper one is currently the backup file. It ends at 1340. The new one ends near 1340. The new one ends at 1330. So we are missing a bit of data. Let's make sure the size is the same. And now I just copied some stuff. Now everything that is new needs to be zeros, but on this side it needs to be zeros. All new stuff should be zero. So now it should be exactly the same size. We stop at the same line and have the same empty bytes at the end. So now we can save the dtritus.pyc. So this file is prepared as well. Another thing I want to modify, quick hint, don't use .back for your backups, because the Hex Editor uses this for backing up every time you save. Another file I want to modify is the vehiclesnpc.py. In here we have the init merge. Here I want to change this. I want to make sure that all mercs have police ships. I'll comment them out that I know what happens normally, and then I'll add a custom one, sp ship equals as poly1. So every merc gets a ship call of type as poly1. So let's save. Again, I think for the py files I don't need to update them, I only need to update the pyc. I still have the py compile window open, so I can just call compile vehiclesnpc.py timestamp 0, enter npc. Did I delete the old one? Let's do it again just to be safe. Okay. So if we compare these two, the new one is a bit smaller again. So again, let's open hxd and load these two files into it. Go to the end of the file. Now, the old file ended at 8E40, and the new file ends at 8DA0. Okay, 8DA0, and there is one byte missing at the end, so let's just copy everything and paste. So now it should be the same size. It's the same size, and now let's clear all bytes to 0. Now we can save this file as well, and now we have all 3 files prepared. So let's see how we modify the Data.packed file. So if we go into sounds, Crazy Gambler, Loop Crazy 2, and choose the updated one here, open the replace menu and click the replace the selected file in the archive with the file on the computer. If I click this button, loop crazy2 wave replaces loop crazy2 wave. Okay. Let's also replace the dtritus.pyc inside scripts, cars, dtritus.pyc, replace, and in vehicles, let's replace vehiclesnpc, the correct one, with vehiclesnpc. So now we have modified the archive, but we haven't saved it yet. So if we go here, we can go into the save menu and give a new name. Data modified. This creates a new Data.packed. We need the unmodified one for comparison. To fix something the Game Extractor does wrong. Okay, so now we have saved the archive. We don't need the Game Extractor anymore. And now we have the Data.packed, which is unmodified, and the Data modified packed, which doesn't work yet. So we open HXD again. We open both files, and if we compare them and have a look at the beginning few lines, looks like here are some letters, m3d.ini. We also see those here. So the files in the beginning, they look similar but are not the same. In the modified file, the first byte is 07. And if you go here in front of the 07, there are 12 other bytes which are missing in the modified packed file. So if we copy them over, now the beginning looks the same. So if we are lucky and we didn't accidentally replace the file with another file that has a different size, everything should work. So if we now save, wait for it to save, right? This data modified packed we can now copy over to the Scrapland program folder. Then we have I have a backup of the original Data.packed, so I can delete the current one and make sure the modified one has the correct name. And now I can start Scrapland and see if I did everything right. It doesn't crash. Dtritus is quite fast, so the one modification worked in the dtritus file. Then let's go to gambling den. Gambling den. Okay. And if we visit gambler. He now is coughing. Okay, you should check that. Yeah. Now we can also try out. Okay, let's see if it worked. Do they appear? No. Wait! Nice! It worked! Yeah, thank you for watching. Have fun. Until later.